If you're a nurse practitioner, do you ever wake up thinking, being a nurse practitioner is really hard? In fact, I feel like there are more days that I feel stressed out about my work than there are days that I feel joyful and content about my work. Feels like I'm wasting my time being unhappy. I feel like I'm always constantly documenting and charting in the EHR than spending time with my family and enjoying my life. And I'm not getting any younger. Shouldn't I be spending more time doing something that I love than being unhappy? If this is you and this is how you feel, then you are in the right place. Today, I want to tell you in this video how you're wasting your time as a nurse practitioner and what you should do instead to be happier. For those of you who are new here, hi, my name is Nicole. I am a rheumatology nurse practitioner, and I help other nurse practitioners and medical providers find happiness in healthcare and meaningfully connect with their patients in 60 seconds or less. Today, I want to talk to you about time. Why is time so valuable? And everyone has their own concept of time or perspective of time. Leo Tolstoy said the two most powerful warriors are patience and time. Benjamin Franklin once said, "You may delay, but time will not." Charles Darwin said, "A man who dares to waste 1 hour of his time has not discovered the true value of life." And if you're a parent like me, you've all heard the saying, the days are long, but the years are short. What these all have in common is that if they describe how precious time is, it is the most valuable commodity we have. Why is time such a valuable commodity? One, it is irreplaceable. Once time passes, it is gone forever. You cannot get back a second, a minute, an hour that has been spent or that has passed. Time is a limited resource. That awareness of that time is finite. It is a finite resource. It encourages people to, make the most of it. So if you're doom scrolling on your phone for 20, 30 minutes, that 20, 30 minutes is gone forever. You can't get back that time. Number two, time is an opportunity cost. Every moment that you spend your time on one thing is a moment that you're not spending on something else. So the choices we make about how to spend our time determines our experiences and our opportunities we have in our lives. So if you have 30 minutes, you could be doom scrolling on your phone, on social media, or you could be getting in a 30-minute workout. And at the end of that 30 minutes, you might feel insecure because you were doom scrolling and you saw on social media and you compare yourself to someone who's more prettier, richer, has a better life, seems more happier than you. Or if you exercise for 30 minutes, you're more fit, you're full of endorphins, you actually feel good about yourself. Completely different experiences from just 30 minutes. Number three, and finally, time is unpredictable. Time is unpredictable. We all don't know how much time we have left on this earth, right? And it's this uncertainty of the future adds to that element of urgency that we have to value our time. Working in healthcare as a nurse practitioner, I don't know if this is a benefit, but we are presented the opportunity to witness people get diagnosed, sadly, with fatal cancers, diseases, or even sadly pass away. I've been a nurse practitioner for over 8 years, and I've had patients that I followed for many, many years. We built a relationship. I've got to know them and their family, and they've sadly passed away. And it's devastating. And that awareness, it pushes us to want to use our time wisely and not take it for granted. I'm a parent. I have a 4-year-old son, and I want to spend as much time as I can with him. I mean, just thinking about it makes me kind of sad and teary-eyed on the inside. I want to be as present in his life as I can be. Even little things like exercising routinely so that I can have a strong low back, so that I can carry him and hug him when he runs into my arms after school. I mean, I don't want his core childhood memory to be, my mom never played with me when I was a kid because every time I asked her, she would complain and say her back hurt or she was tired. That's the last thing I want. And so how we shape our time or how we use our time really shapes our life, the quality of our lives. And investing our time in relationships, our health, our personal development, our passions tends to lead to a more fulfilling and meaningful life. And as nurse practitioners, we work in healthcare, and we all know time is an essential component to our work. It is built in there. I mean, our patients are scheduled and fitted in time slots. And we actually see on our schedule the time we have with them: 10-minute slots, 15-minute slots, 20-minute slots. In our charts, in our documentation, when we document our notes, we write down, at least my company does, we write down how many minutes we spent with them, with the patient, including education, reviewing the chart, documenting. Even we use time codes to bill health insurances, because those are associated with how much time we spend with the patient. And in our work, any hack or tactic that helps us shave off seconds is very helpful. For my work, it takes a long time to like type in your username and log in and password to get into a computer. At my work, I actually swipe my ID badge to get in the computer. And it seems so tiny, such a little thing, but it shaves off like 5 seconds, and it saves me 5 seconds of my time. And so when we're in patient visits and we're sitting in that small exam room, us and the patient in front of us, another human being, as nurse practitioners, we feel this immense pressure to be as quick as possible, to jam as much as value as we can in that visit with the patient, to make sure we make the most of those few minutes we have with the patient. We want to educate them and touch base on all their issues: their hypertension, their vaccine records, their cancer screenings, their anemia, are they up to date on their medications, all these things. But the truth is, the more we touch base on so many elements, that we're ping-ponging back and forth between different topics with the patient, it actually provokes more questions and more confusion with the patient. And that ends up actually prolonging the visit. And then we end up in the patient visit longer than expected, than we had them slotted for. And we end up behind in our schedule, and we can't get home on time. Does that sound familiar to you? Because I know I've had many of those days before. I want to try this analogy. So imagine you're going on vacation with your family. Imagine you're going on vacation. You have saved up your PTO hours for this. You have planned this trip months in advance. You've been looking forward to it for months. Your kids are so excited. They can't stop talking about it for the next few weeks. They can't wait to be on the beach, running their toes through the sand and the warm ocean. And you just want to feel free and away from work and the dreaded EHR. In fact, in your excitement leading up to the vacation, you've been on the computer researching on Google, on Travelpedia, about what restaurants are the best places to eat at, what activities are must do, must sightsee, what are the most recommended things to do. And you feel like you should cram as much as you can in your itinerary as possible. You feel like you want to make the most of your vacation and cram as much as you can, as many activities as you can, because that vacation trip will eventually end. It will come to an end. It will come to a close. And you and your family will have to pack up, get back on the airplane or in the car and head home, where your regular life awaits you, where you will walk into your old house, your old apartment, and we have to unpack your suitcase, do laundry, get the kids ready for bed, actually figure out what's for dinner in the first place before you get ready for bed. Then, you got to pick up the mail, and you're going through the mail, and bills, 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 bills. And then you think, I need another vacation. How many of you have been there? And the reason that people try to cram so much in their vacation is that they know how precious time is, right? It's short. Time is irreplaceable. Time is an opportunity cost. Time is unpredictable. And so, I work in rheumatology. Pretty much all of my patients have some sort of arthritis issue. And I have lost count how many patients have nonchalantly mentioned in passing during a visit when they're updating me on their symptoms, I'm getting old. I'm getting old. And it's always painted as a bad thing, that getting old is bad. In fact, society makes us think that getting old is bad, that time passing is bad, that we should do everything we can to freeze time and extend this singular moment, this prime of our life. I mean, that's why the global beauty and personal care industry is generates over $600 billion every year. Or the cosmetic surgery market is projected to soar from 67 billion in 2013 to over 200 billion in the year 2033. I mean, even I admit I'm a sucker for this. I have a face cream, an eye cream, a retinol cream, a face oil in the hopes of preventing wrinkles and crow's feet. And time is going to pass whether you like it or not. You're going to spend time in your work, in your aging body, and your time on vacations will fly by. Even your time with your kids will be gone in the blink of an eye. No one is the exception. And even Benjamin Franklin once said, "Nothing is certain except death and taxes." So here's what I have to say. If time passing and being a limited resource is inevitable for all of us, meaning no one can escape, this is going to happen whether you like it or not, what if we made time the most important resource in our lives? What if we made the passing of time a good thing? What if we use time to our advantage? What if you chose to make this year's weakness into next year's strength? If you're afraid of aging and getting wrinkles on your face, around your eyes, getting crow's feet, what if you use time to your benefit? What if you make sure you drink water every day, you exercise consistently, and you wear sunblock every single day? What if you banked on time passing to make your skin glow? Or what if instead of looking forward to the week-long vacation where you felt you could escape your life only once or twice or three times a year, and instead you took advantage of time passing of everyday passing, you spent every night with your kids to write down on a piece of paper something joyful, something happy, something exciting, something memorable that happened that day. Maybe have your kids draw a picture with their crayons, depending on how old they are. I have a 4-year-old, so I'm always thinking about crayons and drawings, and then put those all in a binder. And with every passing day, you added a page in there. And eventually, over time, what you're taking advantage of, you have a book. You have this thick binder with accumulations of what a joyful life you've lived. What if you use time to your benefit instead of dreading it passing by you? What if you use time as your ally to find happiness in healthcare? At the beginning of this video, I said that being a nurse practitioner is hard work, and it is. Sometimes it seems like there are more stressful days in our work than there are joyful and content days in our work. But instead of thinking, this is challenging, this is difficult, and I'm not happy, and victimizing yourself, feeling like you're a victim, what if instead you thought, I'm going to focus on this one thing that's difficult right now, and that is my weakness, and I'm going to use time as my ally and learn to make it my strength. If you have only 15 minutes with your patient in a patient visit, and you need to hit on several different points, and you know that they might get confused, end up walking away and not knowing what you told them to do, not remembering what they told you to do. They won't take their diabetes medication, their hypertension medication. They won't exercise, get their mammogram scheduled, which just, by the way, in fact, studies do demonstrate the average patient forgets 80% of what they're told in a single patient visit. So this is actually true. It's based on data. What if you can, and the truth is, how can you feel like you have a purpose? How can you feel like you're having a meaningful life if you feel like a broken record every single day saying the same thing, but not actually making an impact on people, right? Because you know that every patient can now look up anything on the internet. How many of you have had the first words come out of your patient? So I read this on the internet, right? The truth is, how we practice healthcare must change because people's behaviors are changing. The internet gives people everything for nothing. Just the click of a button, the swipe on your phone can give them information. Patients, people want to feel like it's worth to schedule a follow-up visit or a clinic visit, drive to the clinic, sit in a crowded lobby, check in, wait in an exam room for you to come in. People don't want seconds of value. They want value per second. They want every second of their life to be filled with value. People don't want more information, they want better information. That is what is needed in order to make an impact on people nowadays. So, what if you chose to spend your time figuring out how to connect with your patient in seconds so that you could change their lives? What if you could use time as your ally so that you can gain the skills with each patient visit and get better each time? Which, by the way, if this sounds like something you would love to do, then I invite you to join the next round of the Connect with Your Patient in 60 Seconds or Less challenge. The link is down below in the notes, in the show notes or the description box. And I highly recommend, highly invite you to join the next round. All right. What if there came a day where you woke up, you went to work, and your first patient in the morning said and exclaimed to you, "You're my favorite out of all my doctors"? Like, how amazing would that feel? How amazing would that make you feel the rest of the day and set up your day for positivity? How amazing would it be to say that you no longer live this reality of feeling like you dread your alarm clock and you have more stressful days than content days and joyful days in your work? How amazing would it be to feel like you no longer live in that reality? And instead, in this new reality, you get to say, okay, I've turned last year's weakness into this year's strengths. What am I working on this year now? What am I working on this year to build upon so that this year's weakness is next year's strength? Everyone waits for the time to feel perfect to do something. But the truth is, every moment in time is perfect. I'm going to say that again. Everyone waits for the time to feel perfect. But the truth is, every moment in time is perfect because time is irreplaceable, an opportunity cost, and unpredictable. Now, I want to give you a bit of encouragement. After listening to this, you might feel incentivized, motivated, or even pressured. Pressured to make the most of your time, pressured to do a million things that you've been putting off, that's been on your bucket list or on your New Year's resolution list. And you might, and starting off, you have that explosion of motivation, you're excited to do it, but then over time you may lose steam and end up falling off the bandwagon, and then you feel guilty you didn't stay consistent. I want to encourage you. There is refinement in repetition. Quality is in the details that only you learn with lots of exposure. So give yourself plenty of repetitions, plenty of time. Diamonds. Diamond, one of the most valued substances in the world. A diamond is created under immense pressure within the Earth's mantle. Pressure. Diamonds are created under pressure. Pressure is a sign that you've earned a place where expectations are high, when the opportunity to rise to the challenge is within your reach. It is a reflection of your potential and the trusted place in you. It's a sign that others believe in you and that you can do it, and they're holding you to your highest potential. You can make time your ally. You can make time your friend. Focus on one thing at a time and build that mastery upon mastery. And whether you're learning how to connect with your patient within 60 seconds or learning to find happiness in healthcare, believe in yourself, because I do. I hope this episode was helpful. And if you enjoyed it, then you might enjoy another video. I'm going to post, or probably right here, I'll post another video here. And otherwise, I am always rooting for you, and I will see you on the next episode.